T-Mobile Sprint merger because, man, you go around, you ask people, they'll think it's finally done. It's over. We finally got one big company, one big happy family, the T-Mobile Sprint company. You know, a year in the making, really more for T-Mobile. If you think about it, when you look at back when they was trying to merge with AT&T and regulators broke that up, and then you had them trying to merge with Sprint now, and regulators like, well, we're not quite feeling that. So, after all this time, it's all done. Everybody should be excited. You know, let's make it happen. But as Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friend. You have some haters in the building, and the haters will be your Texas State Attorney General Ken Paxton, as well as a other group of officials who are looking to block the merger, as that trial will actually begin in December. So basically, what it is T-Mobile had to find a way to have a fourth competitor because a lot of people are saying out there that, okay, you take the number 3 to the number 4 competitor, they're merging, and now you don't have a fourth company. You just took out the competition. And this is some of the things that, these regulators are complaining. They're saying that when you do this, you are hurting competition. And particularly the Texas General Attorney or Attorney General Ken Paxton is saying that, this is hurting Texas. And there are a lot of people who, when this happened, they're going to lose out on another carrier and lose out on the competition. And we have to ask the question, is this a legit complaint, or are these politicians complaining because their pockets not getting fatter and their palms are not getting greased? One of the solutions to make the merger happen was to pretty much form a fourth company, which basically all they did was took the Boost, Virgin, and the non-contract carriers that Sprint and T-Mobile had and gave it to Dish so they can form another competitive network. Okay, you pretty much got a network that is made for the customer that's wanting a smaller carrier or a cheaper brand, and you were going to get that. So for me to read this and hear that, politicians are, quote, concerned about their constituents, again, I don't see where you're forming this. Now, one area I may agree with it if you're worried about the jobs, if you feel like, okay, you allow T-Mobile and Sprint to merge, you have a potential where, just like with any company that merged, they're not going to want to keep two of the same thing. Especially if you in these areas like in a mall where you got a T-Mobile store and a Sprint store, they're not going to keep them both open. Somebody is going to get some stores are going to get closed, and there are going to be some jobs that are going to be lost as a result of it. So if that is the issue you want to bring, I can see that, but I also have an argument to that as well, for the simple fact that basically they said Dish is going to pick up some of those stores anyway. So yes, you're going to have some of those stores closing as a result of the T-Mobile Sprint thing, but they're going to get picked back up if Dish become their own network. And I know Dish is going to probably say no, but I'm pretty sure Dish is going to want to do that because they're not going to pay all that money for that and not have an opportunity to utilize this. And they're going to want to. Why? Because they see that their competition, AT&T, DirecTV, have a store right now with a setup where you can go into the store, buy a phone, and see pretty much DirecTV satellite dishes and all this stuff plastered all around the store. So for Dish, this allows them to compete with AT&T DirecTV to have their own little store where they can have phones and they can have satellite dish and all that stuff, and it pretty much mimic a similar store and feel to what AT&T is doing, which will allow them to really compete with them. So to argue that this is going to be bad for the constituents and bad for the workers, I kind of say no. I think they'd just be just fine because they're going to still need some workers to work those stores. And a lot of the people that may be a victim of not being a part of the AT&T T-Mobile merger and get canned on the street may find themselves be able to pretty much walk right into the same building and just have a different name tag on and work for Dish or for Dish's network. And like I said, again, the customers that's going to gravitate to that network is going to be in those larger cities anyway. Those people, like I said last week on my podcast, that do gravitate to Dish, like someone like my grandmother, someone like my uncle, someone who I know that are not really into cord cutting, they're okay with these satellite dishes, and they gravitate more to the Boost Mobile and the Metro PCS because they're cheaper. That's going to be ideal for them. They can go to one place to get help with their satellite dish and their smartphone. And like I said, for Dish, it makes sense. And really for competition in general, it makes sense. As far as this whole 5G thing, I'm okay with T-Mobile and Sprint merge. Let them merge. Let's get this 5G on and popping. Let's get it going, because I just like to see what's going to happen with 5G, because I understand that potentially the landscape can change as a result of 5G. How it actually is going to do something that, can really help out customers in general. Yeah, so as far as this whole deal with them blocking the merger going through, unless I read something that is legit on why they're trying to keep it going, I mean, really legit, I'm saying, look, stop hating, just get out the way, let these guys do their thing, and let's go ahead and get us a better company if we can do that. Now, if they're seeing something, that we're just not seeing, if T-Mobile and Sprint is basically lying, which I do think there are going to be some of the facts that T-Mobile and Sprint put out there on their page that explains the merger. I think some of it may be, I can say overblown, but it may be, hype and pipe dreams that may never happen. I do believe that. I do believe that if we're expecting to get, quote, lower prices, I do have to question that. I hope the price don't skyrocket, but I don't think we're going to get, quote, lower prices. Just like any company say, our price is going to be, quote, competitive. And by competitive, it may be a few dollars cheaper than the let's say, AT&T or Verizon or our other competition. But it's going to be in the same bracket. And we know when 5G come out, don't expect it to be cheap. Especially when they first get out there. They're going to want to take advantage of the early adopters, want to spend the extra money and use that extra money to continue on building those towers. And for me, the reason why I want to see it hurry up, because of the simple fact that the sooner we get this out there, the sooner we get this going, the sooner we're going to see some of these smaller carriers like Boost, Metro, Cricket, and some of these other non-contract carriers, even like a Google Fi, start having 5G. And once that happens, it's going to force the price of these other 5G networks to get down. And the only way that's going to happen is we start seeing 5G technology continue to grow. We start seeing more 5G phones. We start seeing, even your non-contract cheap phones start having 5G, especially when you start getting like your budget phones that you can get from Walmart. When you go to Walmart, you can buy a budget phone that's 5G, and you can put on a budget carrier and get 5G network. Where we need to be, because at that point, we done brought the competition or the price of what it costs to operate or use that, to a level where more and more people can jump on board. And I just believe that 5G is going to open up the avenue for technology in ways that we can't even imagine. It's your boy PC747. Thank you for checking out this video. This is an excerpt from this week's The Next Up podcast, which you can catch on SoundCloud, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. If you like what you heard, please hit the like button and subscribe below. If not, feel free to leave a comment below on what you didn't like and ways I may improve. Constructive comments are welcome, but don't think the comment section is only for dislikes. Feel free to voice your opinion about the topics below. As always, have a good day. I'm out.